So this is Nurse Michelle with Nurse Family Partnership. Nurse Michelle Masokin Safiatu Kita. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Safiatu, what would you say, is this your first experience with breastfeeding this time around?
No, this is my second time around.
Okay, okay. And is there anything making this time easier than the first time?
The things that are making this time easier than the first time, I have like the experience, of course, which is very helpful. I know, I understand how the breastfeeding process works, the latch, waiting for my milk to come in, and the supply and demand, so I understand that a lot better. And I also nurse my baby, like, I'm not stressing about the amount of milk I have to put in the freezer. So the first time around, that was like a concern of mine. I'm like, should I be pumping this early, or should I didn't know exactly what to do, and just to follow what works for me. And I also have like different support groups that I know about. So those are the things that make it a lot easier this time around.
So in knowing when your milk comes in, how has that helped you this time versus when you had your first?
It helped knowing this time that my baby would be okay. The first time around, I was very anxious and stressed, which also doesn't help with like the breast
the
milk production. So I was worried that my baby was starving. But this time
that's a really common worry, though. Yeah, definitely.
So this time around, I was much more relaxed. I wasn't anxious about it at all, and I just knew that whenever baby wanted to latch on, I would latch her on. The more I latch her on, the
better your supply.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because some people don't think about the little bit of colostrum in the first 3 days is just enough.
Yeah.
So your baby waking every hour, there's nothing wrong. It's just your milk is still coming in, but they're getting enough. What would you say helped the most with being tired in the newborn phase with nursing? Because that can really make a damper.
So what helped this time around? My husband and I had experience from the first time around, right? So the first time around, I was still trying to keep up with my same old routine instead of like switching things around, knowing that we have a newborn. So this time around, I know like, yes, sleep when the baby sleeps. So especially having my toddler, I get to bed a lot earlier than I did with Dahlia. So as soon as I would put my first daughter down to bed, I'm off to bed too.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes we are so used to sleeping only at night, but then when we realize, no, this is all I got. So take it when you can get it.
Take advantage of getting those naps when I can.
And with either one, did you have any pain with latching, and how did you handle that?
I did have pain with latching with both, only in the beginning stages.
Okay.
If I was really sore on a breast, I probably wouldn't latch the baby on that breast, but I would use like a haka to encourage, the letdown, and so I won't get too engorged.
Right, so you're still letting the milk out at that feeding, but if that side is too painful, then you're kind of forgoing the feed for a temporary time.
Just for a little bit.
Okay, interesting. And how long did you nurse your first one?
I nursed my first for about a year.
Okay.
So I weaned her off around when she turned one.
When she turned one. Yeah. Okay. And last, what helped you nurse her for so long?
So I never like knew what my goal was for breastfeeding with my first.
Okay.
So I found a support group, and basically they told me to set smaller goals.
Oh, I like that.
So maybe my first initial goal was like, let's just reach the end of this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would set milestones along the way. So let's get to 3 months. Let's get to 6 months. So once I got to maybe my first milestone, maybe 3 months, it's like, oh, this isn't as bad as
you thought it
I thought it might be. I could probably go on longer. So then I kept going, and it just kept going. Each milestone, I was just like, oh, it's not that bad anymore. We can keep going. So that's kind of how, and I wasn't stressed about my supply. I knew that
at that point.
Yes,
Okay.
I know when my baby's full. So I know that she was getting enough milk. Even when I did start pumping, once I returned to work,
Okay.
I did stress about, will she have enough? Because I don't know. At home, I don't pump, so I didn't know how much to leave in the bottle. So it was like experiments, trial and error. And with time,
you got it. I love that about milestones, because you're so tired in the beginning, you think you can't do it, but just saying, let me get to this stage, and then before you know it, they sleep longer at night, and you're like, well, let's just keep this party going.
Yeah, and they don't feed as much the older they get.
Right.
Yeah, so
I don't think sometimes people realize that.
It becomes like, oh, it's
not too bad.
Not too bad.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Safiatu.
Thank
Congratulations with your new one.